Hey guys, Comic Uno, and today I am reviewing The Dark Knight, the movie. Today I watched it, that way I can refresh my mind on, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and do a review. That way I can say, alright, now I'm totally pumped up for Dark Knight Rises. I have to say, it really did help to watch these movies again. That way you could, get that third final act and say, oh yeah, this is what the story's really been building up. That way, you didn't really forget those little things, so it definitely did help. And I wanted to review it, though. You guys won't forget the little things also. And get ready for Dark Knight Rises on Friday. Totally excited for that movie. Just see, how is this movie going to end? Because this is the end. So totally excited. So let's talk about The Dark Knight, though. So in this movie, we have our two main villains, the Joker and Two-Face. We could see, really, Batman try to save Gotham. I feel like in Batman Begins, Batman was the star. That's why it was called Batman Begins. But obviously the Joker was star in this. But I would say something that they really concentrated on in this movie was Gotham itself. And I really love that. We get really a lot of great scenes with Commissioner Gordon, like him becoming commissioner. That was really love that. I really like Commissioner Gordon's character in this whole entire trilogy. I think he's a really good character, and his family we get to see in this movie, and those are the little things you do forget, oh yeah, Commissioner Gordon, all his stuff in whole his story really, and really after rewatching him, I was like, oh yeah, his story was actually really good, that's something to remember. Is Commissioner Gordon's story was really good. He's really the only person that knows that Batman's still a hero. Because Batman blames himself on all the people he killed, even though his number one rule is that he doesn't kill. Of course, something big to talk about with this movie is the Joker. He is the star of this movie. Heath Ledger does the best villain in a movie ever. He just portrays the Joker so well. Something that not every actor portrayed with the Joker show how crazy he is. And Heath Ledger hits it on the head. He does a great job. He is the best villain in any movie I have ever seen. He just does the Joker character and really shows who the Joker is. Why is everyone so afraid of him? And in Batman Begins, we get to see, alright, fear is, the big theme. And fear is another theme in this also. Afraid, what's the Joker gonna do next? He doesn't have a plan. He just, does this all on the top of his head. And that's what people are afraid of. And he's and one of the quotes in the movie is that not everyone's afraid of a plan. The worst plan, something bad can happen with a plan, but people are not scared of it as much. But when things happen, that shock them, or that's when they get scared. That's when Gotham is going to get scared. So yeah, the Joker, he was just so good in this movie. He's, again, one of my favorite villains in a movie ever, one of my favorite villains in a comic book, and Heath Ledger just does a really good job. That's why really The Dark Knight is one of the best movies ever, because of that. But one thing I really loved about The Dark Knight, and really have to give a round of applause to, is that there's two villains in this movie. Two-Face and the Joker. Two big Batman villains. The Joker, again, is one of the best villains ever in movie history. The reason why people watched the movie and made so much money is because of the Joker. But people forget about Two-Face. And if you're going to have another villain in a movie, sometimes they could overshadow. That big villain, the Joker, could overshadow Two-Face. I feel like in this movie, the Dark Knight writers just did his character perfectly. Because I felt like Two-Face wasn't really overshadowed. He was still a really good villain. He was a good villain in a different way. It showed that he was all for Batman. He was all for the goodness. Just, there's a bug in there, and there's a bug in here. But anyways, Harvey Dent was all for the goodness. He was all, he had a good life. He was actually the symbol, not just Batman being a symbol of a hero, but he was the symbol of being a hero. And one of my favorite quotes in this movie, which I actually put on my Twitter while I was watching it, is, and this really defines Harvey Dent's character, is that a hero, could die a hero. A person's gonna die a hero or live long enough to see himself become the villain. And that's what Harvey Dent did. He was the hero. He was a hero for a while. He was Gotham's hero. But, when Rachel died, he's like, oh no, I can't handle this, and that's when he became the villain. He was a hero and became a villain. That quote really does define his character, and I love that quote. And it's one of my favorite quotes in a movie. Also, I just feel like that's what I'm saying is that Two-Face is a really good villain. He wasn't overshadowed. Like a lot of villains you might have, like let's say Scarecrow's in this movie, which I didn't really love in the Batman Begins. But let's say he was in this movie, Joker would overshine that character so much that you would say, I hate Scarecrow, or I just don't like him. He's a horrible villain compared to the Joker. But with Two-Face, he brought something to the movie that was needed. Like, was it a good thing that they had two villains? Yes. It just made the movie better. And, like, it didn't say, oh, I hate Two-Face because Joker was so much better and outshined him. He wasn't outshined, and that's what The Dark Knight did. And I feel like not a lot of people say that. And I really, because I rewatched this movie, I realized that, and I love that about this movie, that these two villains are just awesome. And they both brought something to the movie, and it just really was good. And could The Dark Knight Rises beat this movie? I don't know. With the villain Bane, a little sketchy, but I'm very excited for The Dark Knight Rises. But will Bane beat Two-Face? Will he bring something to this trilogy? And that's what The Dark Knight Rises really has to prove, because the Joker was that villain, and now Bane's gonna really have to prove himself to be, bring something to the trilogy like Two-Face did. He might not have been the best villain in the world, but he brought something to the movie, and he showed that he was a villain. He showed that he was a good character, So, that's something Dark Knight Rises is going to have to prove with the next movie. And hopefully Dark Knight does it again and shows that, yeah, this character is important. He's not going to be outshined by the Joker. And he's not going to live in the Joker's shadow. So yeah, I'm really excited for Dark Knight Rises, and this movie, Dark Knight, I really love this movie. Rewatching it made me love it even more. The last time I saw the movie was actually in theaters. I hadn't had a chance to watch it again. I'm really glad I did the kind of movie marathon for Batman, and I was very happy with that. Makes me more excited for Dark Knight Rises, and I'm totally excited for it. I will have a review for Dark Knight Rises on Friday, probably Friday night, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this review and enjoyed my Batman Begins review. If you haven't checked that out, check that review out. Really hope you guys enjoyed both my reviews. And this is Comic Uno. Guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the Rand Situations. And this is Comic Uno. Bye, guys. Tell me in the comments below what you thought about The Dark Knight and what you're excited for The Dark Knight Rises. Bye, guys.